Okay, we are into bag 12. I'll switch to the appropriate page and the directions. Okay, so now I need to put together the ball ends, and I'm not sure where those are hiding. All of the hardware is here. Let me see what's left in the box. Okay, they are in the bag, in your shocks bag. Let me see. That's probably going to be bag 10. No, 11. It says bag 12, but they're actually in 11 with the springs and the shock caps. I haven't gotten to this bag because I haven't started into the shocks yet. Now, your life will probably be made easier if you pre-thread these. Or at least half of them. The second half you'll thread when you put them in, but the other ones, when you're trying to screw these together, will probably be a little easier. Okay, now you'll understand now why I did the pre-threading on 4 of them. Starting with a fresh one. Screw that in part way. Take one of the threaded ones. And it goes together very easily like that. And we need them to be 2 millimeters gap. And we want that to be precise. Now, in the event that you don't have a set of calipers to make this measurement, find something that is about 2 millimeters thick, like a piece of plastic, a piece of carbon fiber, a piece of balsa wood, whatever you might have that's about that thickness, and then use that like a gap tool. So we need 2 millimeters. So that's one left front. Now we'll take our next grub screw. Also called set screws. Then we take another one of our threaded ones, and that goes together very easily. Okay, right front. Left rear. And right rear. So I'll just leave those two up here like that. I think a pair of needle nose will help get these snapped in. That and a little leverage from the other side. There we go. Yeah, right. This is going to be our left rear. There we go. There is some very fine writing on the side here, and a magnifying glass will help you out with that, or take your phone, go into camera mode, and zoom in, and that'll help you as well, which is exactly what I'm going to do right now. So 1.2, 1.3, there's front, there's rear. Okay, the correct sizes on these are going to be important. On these grub screws, you've got 4 of these silver ones, chrome, whatever you want to call it. And you've got 4 of these. So those go for those. And then you've got 2 black short ones and 4 longer ones. The 2 black ones are going to go in these 2, they're like wheel clasps on an airplane. Model airplane, of course. And then the 4 longer ones are going to go into 2 holes on here to adjust the tension on the sway bar, to keep the sway bar from jiggling around. So, because as you put in larger or smaller sway bars, you need to make that adjustment. So I'm going to start with a little bit of Loctite. Also, you may need to adjust these at some point or get to them while they're on the car. So I would point them up like that so you can reach them, and just slide it to the end so it's just starting to protrude. And then tighten it. Now do one of these wheel links next. Because if you put on both of the ball studs, you won't be able to get the wheel link on. Don't get it on too tight, because you just want to be able to make the corners, and kind of put it like at a 45-degree angle, pointing up and backwards, or up and away, depending on whether you're looking at the front or the rear. And because we're going to have to adjust this, we're just putting it on loose for the moment. Now we can do our next ball stud. So that is going to just drop in like that, and then the plastic piece goes over top. So I'm going to try to get these snapped in first. Sometimes they're easy and sometimes they're not. There we go. So now, like I said, we've got those grub screws to deal with here. I'm going to take 2 of them, and I'm going to go ahead and thread them in ahead of time. And that's going to go into this hole here. The hole with the depression is for this screw that mounts this plastic piece. And go ahead and screw it in until you see it starting to come through. Okay, so now we can go ahead and mount that with 2 of these little 2mm screws. Now be careful with these. Do not over tighten them. You will strip the plastic, and then you won't be able to tension your sway bar. This is one of those parts where I like to use what I call the 2-finger rule. Just use 2 fingers on your driver, and if you you can tell that way if you're putting on too much pressure. You hold it with your whole hand, and it's hard to tell just how much torque you're putting in until something goes bad. Whereas if you hold it with just 2 fingers and lightly twist it, you'll realize when you're hitting bottom, and you'll realize when you're starting to go over. Unfortunately, they use very solid plastics, so I got to loosen this up because my sway bar wasn't properly positioned. There we go. It had fallen out of the groove. I'm not referring to 60s music. Get in the groove. Now you see, you'll probably understand now why I had you put the wheel lock at an angle the way I did. Because now it is accessible from this little window we have, this little window of opportunity, because this gets in the way too. Now that can always be taken off, and you can reach anywhere in that range of angle there. But as you can see, when you start to move that sway bar, it starts to have an effect. But right now, the sway bar is loose. It's got a lot of movement to it. So we're going to adjust these grub screws, and it's good to have a hand on it, because you want to, it's just fractions of a turn that make the difference when you get down to it. So adjust the grub screws until they are touching the sway bar, but not stopping it from moving. You want it to be able to rotate, but you don't want it to flop around either. That way, any movement on one side has an effect on the other, even if it's just, it may not be visible, like you may not see the other side start to move, but it's going to be taking weight off of it until it finally breaks motion. So now, if I start moving one side very quickly, you see it start lifting the other side. And you just want to tinker with that until you're satisfied that everything is moving properly. Now, the wheel lock in the center, you want to look at the bends where the sway bar bends, and you want to center that so there's as much sway bar sticking out one side as there is the other. And then tighten that down when you're satisfied with its position. And there is our anti-sway bar doing its thing. So now to the front. Hello? Spam or telemarketer or whatever. It's like we get these beautiful new phones so that people can hassle us and push market us through one more avenue. So now, as you can see, we have a lot of motion in the sway bar, and in a moment that will be gone. So there is our sway bar doing what it's supposed to do. So here we have some additional sway bars in varying thicknesses. Please tell me if they marked these. One would really hope. Ah, they are. So let's do the old phone magnifying thing again. Okay, I saw some markings on here. There we go. Okay, we got a 1.4. That's a 1.3. That's a 1.2. Now it's no surprise that we've got both of the sway bars we're already using. It's a 1.1. That's a 1.0. That's a 1.3 again. And this is probably a 1.2. 1.2. So aside from the 1.2 and the 1.3, we've got a 1.0, a 1.1, and a 1.4. So we've got two lighter and one thicker. So that gives us a good range to work in. And they will not fit in a single or a double space. So I need to triple these up. And I'm saving these for wheel nuts, because they are a nice low profile M4 nut, and I'm going to keep them in here along with these bearings in case I fry a bearing or it gets dirty and it's ratchety. I can just swap out for a standard battery. You know, no point in buying an extra set of ceramics, just clean them later. But in a pinch, I've got a replacement set. I've got some wheel nuts in case I misplace one of these at the track. I've got some extra metal gears in case I blow a diff. I've got my tuning parts over here and over here. I can move to a low profile battery. I've got the parts for that as well. Diff and shock rebuild parts here. And more to come. I've got that hat and an assortment of screws. Let's see, I'm going to put on that battery strap, which requires now they say battery strap nut ×2, but they only give us one, and they give us one of these battery shoulder screws. And then it also just shows a single screw down here. So I am getting that upgrade kit that has nice thumb screws and some grubs or grub screws. This will be a lot easier if I pre-thread that hole, at least a little bit. And let me grab a battery just for fit test. So that just comes off like that. Slide that down. There we go. Nice snug battery placement.